2 lavender plants. Same nursery, same pot, planted the same weekend, 3 feet apart in the same bed. It's now midsummer, and one of them is a fat silver dome dripping with flowers. The other is half the size and barely budding. Nothing about the weather, the sun, or the soil explains it. They got the same everything. And yet, one of them took off, while the other just sat there sulking. So what's going on? The difference comes down to 7 small things the bigger plant got and the smaller one didn't. 7 tricks that quietly tripled the speed your lavender grows. And here's my promise to you. By the end of this video, you'll be able to spot every single one of them, and you'll know exactly which ones your plant is missing right now. Not one of these is the recycled, planted in full sun and water less advice you've heard 100 times. These are the real mechanical reasons your lavender thrives or stalls. And trick number 4 is the one that's going to make you rethink everything. It feels completely backwards, but it's the single biggest growth lever you have. Let's figure out what the bigger plant knew. Trick 1. Give it a stone blanket, not a soft one. Start with the thing sitting right on top of your soil, because it's quietly sabotaging you. Most people mulch their lavender the way they mulch everything else, a nice thick layer of bark chips, compost, or shredded leaves piled up around the base. It feels like good gardening. It looks tidy. And for lavender, it's slowly choking the plant. Here's what's actually happening down there. Soft organic mulch holds moisture like a sponge, and it traps that dampness right against the crown of the plant, the spot where the stems meet the soil. Lavender absolutely hates wet feet and a wet collar. That trapped humidity invites rot and fungal problems, and even when it doesn't kill the plant outright, it keeps the roots cool and soggy, which tells the plant to slow down and play defense instead of grow. Now, swap that out for what I call the stone blanket. Spread a layer of light-colored gravel, horticultural grit, or crushed limestone chips around the base instead. 2 things happen immediately. First, the crown stays bone dry, so rot never gets a foothold. Second, and this is the part people miss, that pale gravel reflects sunlight and radiant heat straight back up into the underside of the plant. Lavender is a heat-loving thing. When you bounce warmth into it from below, you're essentially extending its sunny hours and warming its root zone. And warm roots are fast-growing roots. This is exactly why commercial lavender fields are often planted in pale, stony ground. They're not fighting the rocks, they're using them. Quick one, if you actually want a step-by-step guide for all this, maybe your lavender is struggling or you just can't get it to bloom, I put every fix into one cheat sheet. You get everything in my Plant Fix and Bloom cheat sheet. It's the first link in the description. Let's continue. Trick 2. Sweeten the soil. This next one is invisible, which is why almost nobody fixes it, and it might be the thing holding your plant back more than anything else. Lavender evolved on limestone hillsides. Its whole biology is tuned to alkaline soil, a pH up around 7 to 8. But most garden soil, especially if you've been composting and mulching for years, drifts acidic. And in acidic soil, lavender can't properly access the nutrients it needs, even when those nutrients are sitting right there. It's like setting a feast in front of someone and locking their jaw shut. So sweeten it. Work a handful of garden lime, that's calcium carbonate, into the soil around your lavender or mix it in well before you plant. This nudges the pH up into the range lavender actually wants, and the effect can be dramatic. Suddenly, the plant can take up the minerals it's been starving for. The foliage greens and silvers up, and growth picks up speed within weeks. If you want to be precise, grab a cheap soil pH tester. They cost almost nothing, and check where you stand before you add anything. But honestly, if your lavender looks pale, sulky, and stalled in decent sun, acidic soil is one of the first suspects. A little lime is one of the cheapest, fastest upgrades you can give it. Trick 3. Plug it into the underground network. This one sounds almost too good to be true, but it's real science, and it's been quietly used by serious growers for years. There's a type of beneficial fungus called mycorrhizae, and when you introduce it at planting time, it forms a partnership with your lavender's roots. The fungus threads itself out into the soil far beyond where the roots can reach, pulling in water and nutrients, especially phosphorus, and delivering them straight back to the plant. In return, the lavender feeds the fungus a little sugar. Everybody wins. What this means for you is a root system that behaves like it's 3 or 4 times bigger than it actually is. Your lavender establishes faster, shrugs off drought stress, and gets a serious head start in its first season instead of sulking for a year while it slowly finds its feet. New plants are the slow phase. All that energy goes into building roots before you ever see top growth. Mycorrhizae shortcut that. You can buy mycorrhizal inoculant as a cheap powder. The trick is contact. You want it touching the actual roots, not just sprinkled on the surface. So when you're planting, dust it directly into the planting hole and onto the root ball before you backfill. One application at planting is all it takes. The fungus does the rest, all season, for free. Trick 4. Starve it on purpose. Okay, this is the one I told you to wait for, and here it is. To make your lavender grow faster, you need to feed it less. In fact, in most cases, you need to stop feeding it almost entirely. I know how that sounds. Every instinct you have as a gardener screams that growth comes from food, that a stalled plant must be hungry, that the answer is more fertilizer, richer soil, more compost. With lavender, that instinct is exactly wrong, and it's probably the reason your plant is leggy, floppy, and disappointing. Here's the mechanism, because the why matters. When you load lavender up with rich soil and nitrogen-heavy feed, the plant does grow, but it grows the wrong way. It throws out soft, sappy, oversized green growth, fast and weak, with long, floppy stems and barely any flowers. That lush green leaf you think you want is actually the plant getting fat and lazy. It has no reason to build a strong frame or a deep root system because everything it needs is handed to it at the surface. The result is a plant that looks busy but is structurally feeble, prone to flopping open in the middle and stingy with the blooms you actually planted it for. Now flip it. When you grow lavender lean, poor, gritty, hungry soil, and little to no fertilizer, the plant has to work. It drives roots down deep searching for water and minerals, and that deep root system is the engine of all the fast, healthy top growth that follows. The stems come in woody, compact, and strong. The plant pours its energy into dense foliage and abundant flowers, because in lean conditions, flowering and seeding is its survival strategy. Lean lavender isn't a starving lavender. It's a lavender doing exactly what it was built to do at full power. So the move is genuinely to do less. Skip the rich compost, hold back the fertilizer. If your soil is heavy or rich, cut it with grit, sand, or gravel to make it leaner and faster draining. The hardest part of this trick isn't the technique, it's trusting it and resisting the urge to help a plant that thrives on a little hardship. Stop feeding it and watch it take off. That's the one nobody believes until they try it.
Trick 5. Cut it twice the right way. Pruning is where so many people either freeze up and do nothing or hack away in a panic and ruin the plant. Both kill your growth speed. Done right, pruning isn't damage, it's a signal. Every good cut tells the lavender to push out fresh, vigorous new growth, and a well-pruned plant grows faster, fuller, and lives years longer than one you leave alone. The rhythm is 2 cuts a year. The first is a light tidy-up right after the main flush of flowers fades. You snip off the spent flower stalks and shape it gently. This stops the plant pouring energy into making seed and redirects it straight back into growing. The second is the bigger, more important cut in spring, as you see new growth waking up at the base. This is where you shape the whole plant and trigger a strong flush of fresh stems for the season ahead. But here is the one rule you cannot break, and it's the rule that separates a lavender that lives for 10 years from one that splits open and dies in 3. Never cut back into the old, bare, woody wood at the base. Lavender does not reliably regrow from that gray, leafless wood. If you slice into it, you're left with a dead stump and a gap that never fills. Always keep your cut within the green, leafy growth. Leave a small cushion of green leaves below where you snip. Cut hard, cut confidently, but stay in the green. Do that and you get a tight, domed, fast-recovering plant year after year instead of a woody, hollow mess. Trick 6. Water deep, then walk away. Watering is where good intentions do the most damage, because the way you'd water a thirsty tomato is the exact way you slow a lavender to a crawl. A little splash every day or two feels caring. To lavender, it's a trap. Shallow, frequent watering keeps all the moisture sitting in the top inch or two of soil, and so the roots never bother going any deeper. Why would they? The water's right there at the surface. You end up with a shallow, lazy root system that dries out the instant you skip a day, leaves the plant fragile, and caps how big and fast it can ever grow. What you want instead is to train the roots downward, because deep roots are the foundation of a fast, resilient, drought-proof plant. You do that by watering deeply but rarely. When you water, give it a proper long soak that drives moisture well down into the soil. Then stop. Leave it completely alone and let the top of the soil dry out fully before you even think about watering again. That dry spell is the whole point. It forces the roots to chase the moisture downward, and as they go deep, the plant gets stronger and faster above ground. Established lavender in the ground often needs almost no watering at all once it's settled. Rainfall does the job. The most common way people kill lavender by a mile is loving it to death with too much water. So count overwatering as the enemy, not drought. And one quick add-on if you grow yours in pots: use terracotta, not plastic. Terracotta is porous, so it breathes and wicks excess moisture out through its walls, keeping the roots from ever sitting soggy. Pair a terracotta pot with a gritty, free-draining mix and a generous layer of crocks or gravel at the bottom, and you've recreated that fast-draining hillside in a container. Trick 7. Steal some stored heat. Last one, and it's the kind of detail that separates people who grow good lavender from people who grow incredible lavender. Lavender doesn't just want sun, it wants warmth, and especially warmth that lingers. The longer and warmer its days and nights, the longer its growing window and the faster it piles on growth. So instead of just dropping it in any sunny spot, place it where it can borrow stored heat. Think about thermal mass, anything that soaks up heat during the day and slowly releases it after the sun goes down. A south-facing wall is perfect. A stone or brick wall, a paved path, a big pale rock, even the warm microclimate at the base of a sunny fence. These surfaces bake in the daytime sun, then radiate that warmth back into your lavender through the cooler evening, gently extending its effective growing hours and keeping its roots warmer overnight. Plant tight against that kind of feature, and you create a little Mediterranean pocket in your garden, warmer and brighter than the open ground just a few feet away. Combine this with the pale gravel mulch from Trick 1, and you've got heat coming at the plant from two directions, bouncing up from below and radiating out from the side. That's the same trick that hot, stony, south-facing hillsides give lavender in the wild, and it's exactly the environment that makes it grow like it's possessed. So let's go back to those two plants, the fat silver dome and the sulking little runt 3 feet away. Now you know exactly what separated them, because every one of these tricks points back to the same simple idea. Stop fighting lavender's instincts and start working with them. The bigger plant got a pale stone mulch instead of soft bark. It got soil sweetened with a little lime so it could actually feed itself. It got plugged into mycorrhiza at planting for a supercharged root system. It got kept lean so it grew strong instead of soft. It was pruned twice a year, always staying in the green. It got watered deep and rare so its roots drove down instead of sideways, and it sat beside something that held heat and stretched its season. The runt got none of that. Do even a few of these for your own plants and you'll genuinely see 2 to 3 times the growth, faster establishment, denser foliage, and far more of those flowers you're really after. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these were you getting wrong? Be honest, for most people it's the watering or the feeding, and there's no shame in it because nearly every general gardening guide tells you to do the opposite of what lavender needs. Drop a comment and let me know which trick you're going to try first, because I read them and they help me make the videos you actually want. If this helped clear things up, do me one quick favor and hit that subscribe button. It genuinely keeps this channel growing, and there's a whole series of these deep dive growing guides coming. And before you click away, watch the video popping up on screen right now because it pairs perfectly with everything you just learned. Thanks for watching. Get out there and give your lavender what it actually wants, and I'll see you in the next one.